This is episode 44 of Creating Your Life, Sex, and Romance on Romance Before Marriage. Hi, Mark Alexander back for more Creating Your Life on Sex and Romance. We're going to talk about the key idea about romance. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine who had been married before and he had a new partner. They had been living together for many years. Children were already grown, but they loved each other. Everything was going fine. One day they're in the kitchen and she's working under the sink to fix something, and he's standing there. And this overwhelming feeling of love comes out of his heart. And so he decides then to say, "Will you marry me?" And she gets out from under the sink, gets up and looks at him and says, "You ask me this now? Now, you ask?" My friend unwittingly violated the first rule of romance, and it's a very simple one. Give your partner a great story to tell. If you want to understand romance, you understand its storytelling, giving good stories, whether it's a guy giving a girl a good story, a girl giving a guy, whoever you love, give them a good story to tell. Let me tell you how I asked my wife to marry me. We had been together a couple years, and what I did is I made a reservation one Sunday night at a restaurant, a very nice restaurant, one that you would really have to dress up for. And I got two couples who are really good friends, and I asked them to participate. I asked them to go out, and I purchased in advance some flowers, some buckets of flowers, sunflowers, roses, and such, for them to pick up, and that they would arrive at a certain time. And I also coordinated with the restaurant, so they knew this was happening. We were initially sat at a table for two people, but the restaurant had arranged a separate table for six that we would move to. So what happened? At a certain we're just starting the meal, and we're dressed up nicely because it's a nice restaurant. And I'm sitting so my friends can walk in, and I see them walking in, bringing all these flowers. And I have the ring with me, and as they come around, she recognizes them, and they start putting the flowers around us in a big semicircle, and they stand there smiling. That's when I drop to my knees and I propose. The whole restaurant was in on it, so when she accepted, everybody erupted with applause, and we moved to the larger table, and we had a lovely dinner with our best friends. She has a story to tell, and she's gone on now to tell that story countless times over the last 19 years. And here's the thing about storytelling, and this is a clue to guys particularly. If you want to look good, give your girl a good story to tell, and also you'll start looking better as the years go by. She will make you look better because the story improves with time, as all stories do, that we really like. If you give her a story that's, especially if it's the kind of story that people are always asking for, like how did he propose? How did you get together? These kind of things. It's good to have a good story, because if you have a story that's not so good, it can make you look bad over time. So becoming a kind of storyteller is crucial for romance. Let's talk about flirting a little bit as well. There's a book you probably heard of called the Kama Sutra. The Kama Sutra is a book from India, from ancient India, and it's one that everybody thinks of as having to talk about sex and sexual positions. But that's not what most of the book is about. If you actually ever go and see it, and not somebody's rendition of it with drawings and to be done in such a way to popularize the sexual angle, there's a lot of good advice in there on flirting. Some of the advice goes along like this. Do you know the power of a coy gesture? How about the power of a furtive glance? The power of a slight wry smile? Do you understand that there's different kinds of smiles, and you can kind of use one for one thing and one for another? Do you understand that the eyes truly are the window to the soul? And if your eyes are lit, people notice. Are you aware that the looks you give and the way you communicate with people, you can actually be sending darts from your eyes that impact people? Are you aware that your subconscious picture of yourself gets communicated? If you're trying to be one thing, but you're actually something else on the inside, people tend to pick up on that. If you have a low opinion of yourself, you'll tend to radiate that. If you have a high opinion of yourself, you will tend to radiate that as well. So how you think about yourself is important. Now, this assumes that you're a person of integrity. And remember, integrity is Latin for integritas, which means the same on the inside as on the outside. So if you're a person of integrity, it's important to become the person you want to be. And to do that, if you go back to the Creating Your Life, the first set of videos here in the book on creating your life, I give you techniques on how to begin transforming that self-image so you can become that person. When it comes to flirting, there's some key things to understand. First, appearance matters. Sometimes if you want to be striking, it means being tasteful, not overly obvious. Number two, the right kind of smile can be properly suggestive. Again, not too overt, but just something that really communicates pleasure and meaning. Number three, having easy laughter goes a long way. Doesn't mean you have to tell jokes, but appreciative laughter and smiles. People like happy people. They don't want to hang out with angry people. They want to hang out with people who are experiencing states of joy. Not artificially induced necessarily, but really fundamentally joyful people. Number four, capturing with a look. And maybe it's not that overt of a look, but just a kind of a look and a slight smile, and one that just really comes from your heart rather than something that's manufactured. Remember, less is more. Being restrained is key to so much of real flirting. Number five, know what you want to express with a kind of easy confidence. Develop that and see yourself as a person who can do this. You're not trying too hard. It becomes obvious if you're trying too hard. Just be natural, be yourself. And number six, know how body language works. Notice how your body can communicate things. This is especially true for men because women have a greater ability to note body language. So let's kind of just sum up this session in a couple slides. Romance is giving your partner a good story to tell. It's playful storytelling. Become a storyteller and think about what kind of stories are you going to create. This is what romance is all about. Flirting. Do you know the power of a coy gesture, a furtive glance, a sly, wry smile, how the eyes can send darts, that your self-image can radiate itself to others? The basic rules: appearance matters. Dress nicely, dress well. Don't be too overt about it, but people notice. The right smile can be properly suggestive. Easy laughter can go miles. You can capture with a look. You need to know what you want and express a kind of easy confidence. Know how body language works. But be flirtatious sparingly. Often less is more. We treasure things that come a little bit softer and on occasion, not all the time. That's it for now. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the 4 kinds of love. In the meantime, you can go to markandrealexander.com or on Kindle, check out my book on sex and romance.